So here we are, the McDowells at Southern Maid for Bible study with Mr. Sam Loving, doing our picks for March Madness.
You know, this is Mr. Jerry, the owner of this establishment. You're going to be on YouTube.
You're going to be
Owner of Southern Maid. Come to Southern Maid, Falcon, Colorado. Really good place. Loves Jesus.
All right. So here's first game.
Okay, first game.
Go ahead.
My pick: Kentucky versus Western Kentucky University. Kentucky.
Okay. What do you pick?
Kentucky.
Kentucky by far. Kentucky.
Iowa State, UConn.
UConn.
I'm picking Iowa State.
I think Iowa State too. Sorry.
Iowa State.
I need
Wichita State
what
versus
bracket is
VCU.
VCU. Wichita State.
Second bracket. I say Wichita State. Indiana versus New Mexico.
The Atlanta.
Indiana
State.
versus New Mexico State. Indiana.
Indiana, Benjamin.
New Mexico State.
New Mexico State.
Indiana.
I'm going with Indiana too. UNLV versus Colorado.
UNLV.
Say that again.
UNLV.
UNLV.
University of Nevada at Las Vegas.
I'm gonna say Colorado.
Colorado, I'm going with UNLV. Okay, here we go. Baylor versus South Dakota State.
Baylor. Baylor. Baylor.
Baylor.
I'm going with Baylor too, folks. Notre Dame versus Xavier.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is good.
You know what?
Notre Dame.
What's Xavier
Say it.
ranked? Xavier.
Notre Dame. Duke versus Lehigh. This will be hard.
Duke. Duke.
Dukies.
I'm going with Duke too. Michigan State is the #1 ranked against some weird team.
Michigan State's good. Michigan State.
Jacob.
Michigan State.
Sam.
Michigan State.
Me, Michigan State, because I can't really pronounce the other teams. It's LIU Brooklyn. Memphis versus St. Louis.
Memphis.
Jacob.
Memphis.
Memphis.
I'm going with St. Louis. New Mexico versus Long Beach
Pretty
State.
much follow. Long Beach State's good.
Fit Jacob.
I don't really know, so I'm just gonna go with New Mexico.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Louisville versus Davidson.
Louisville. Sam took a drink of my water. I can say Louisville.
Louisville.
Louisville. Murray State versus Colorado State.
Colorado State.
Murray.
Murray State.
Murray State.
Thank you.
Marquette versus BYU.
Marquette.
Marquette, Jacob?
Marquette versus BYU?
Yeah.
Marquette.
Marquette?
Marquette.
I'm going with BYU. Florida versus Virginia.
Florida. Florida.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Florida.
I'm going with Florida too. Missouri versus Norfolk State.
Mizzou. Mizzou.
Missouri.
Syracuse versus UNC Asheville.
Syracuse. Syracuse.
Orangeman.
I'm going with Syracuse too. Kansas State versus Southern Miss.
Kansas State. Southern Miss.
Southern Miss.
I'm saying Kansas State. Vanderbilt, Harvard.
Vandy. Vandy. Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I don't think Harvard's gonna pull it.
Vanderbilt.
Wisconsin, Montana.
Wisconsin. Wisconsin.
Badgers.
Wisconsin.
Cincinnati, Texas.
Cincinnati. I'm gonna say Cincinnati.
Cincy.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Florida State, St. Bonaventure.
Florida State. Florida State.
Florida State.
Florida State. Gonzaga, West Virginia.
West Virginia. West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Gonzaga.
Yeah,
Ohio
it's okay,
State,
there we go.
Loyola.
Ohio State. OH. Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. North Carolina versus Vermont.
Vermont. North Carolina. I'm just kidding. North Carolina. North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Creighton versus Alabama.
Alabama. Alabama.
Creighton.
Alabama. Temple versus South Florida.
South Florida. South Florida.
South Florida.
Temple. Michigan, Ohio.
Michigan. Michigan.
Michigan. San Diego State, NC State.
NC State. NC State.
I see NC.
NC State too. Georgetown, Belmont.
Georgetown. Hey, look at me. Georgetown.
Georgetown.
Georgetown. St. Mary's versus Purdue.
St. Mary's. I'm going with Purdue.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with St. Mary's.
St. Mary's. Kansas
I
versus
guarantee you
Detroit.
it happens. Kansas.
Kansas.
Kansas. I have Kentucky, Iowa State, and I'm going Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Over who?
UConn.
I have Kentucky beating Iowa State.
Yeah, Kentucky beating Iowa State.
Okay. Wichita State versus Indiana, and I have Indiana winning that game.
I have VCU against New Mexico State, and I say New Mexico State.
I have Wichita State versus Indiana. I have Wichita State winning.
ECU versus Indiana. And I have Indiana winning.
I got UNLV versus Baylor, and I say Baylor's gonna blow it out of the water.
What
I have
about you?
UNLV versus Baylor, and I say Baylor's gonna win.
I have Colorado versus Baylor, and I think Baylor will win.
I have UNLV versus Baylor. I think Baylor's gonna destroy UNLV.
Notre Dame Duke. Duke will win.
Notre Dame, Duke, and Duke will win.
Notre Dame Duke. Duke will win.
Xavier and the Dukies win.
Michigan State versus St. Louis. Michigan State's gonna win.
I have Michigan State versus Memphis, and I say Michigan State's gonna win.
Michigan State versus Memphis, and Michigan State will win.
Michigan State, Memphis, Michigan State.
New Mexico and Louisville. I got Louisville.
I have Long Beach versus Louisville, and I say Louisville.
I got New Mexico versus Louisville, and Louisville wins.
New Mexico, Louisville, and Louisville win.
Murray State versus BYU. I got Murray State winning that one.
I have Colorado State versus Marquette, and I have Colorado State.
Murray State versus Marquette. I'm going to say Murray State.
I got, Murray State, Marquette, and I'm going to say Murray State.
You guys are terrible.
Florida versus Missouri. Missouri's gonna win. Missouri's gonna win.
Mizzou. Florida.
Florida versus Mizzou, and I say Mizzou wins.
Florida versus Mizzou, Mizzou wins.
Syracuse, Kansas State. Syracuse wins for me.
I say Syracuse.
Syracuse versus Southern Miss, and Syracuse wins.
Southern Miss.
Okay, said Southern Miss.
Syracuse versus Southern Miss, Syracuse wins.
Vanderbilt, Wisconsin. We're gonna go with Wisconsin.
I have Vanderbilt, Wisconsin. I say Vanderbilt.
I have Vanderbilt, Wisconsin, and I say Vanderbilt.
Same thing, and I say Vandy.
Cincinnati,
Who
Florida
knows
State.
what's going to win? You don't know
Florida
what's gonna
State.
happen.
Florida State. I have the exact same thing.
Cincinnati, Florida State, I say Florida State.
Cincy and Florida State, and I say Florida State.
I have Gonzaga versus Ohio State. I'm gonna go with Ohio State.
West Virginia versus Ohio State. I say Ohio State.
West Virginia, Ohio State. Ohio State.
West Virginia, Ohio State, OSU.
North Carolina, Alabama. North Carolina.
I'm going to say North Carolina, Alabama.
It's gonna be a tough one, but I'm gonna say North Carolina.
I have North Carolina, Creighton. I say North Carolina.
Temple versus Michigan. Michigan win.
I have South Florida versus Michigan, and I have Michigan.
South Florida versus Michigan, I say South Florida.
South Florida versus Michigan, and I have Michigan going over South Florida.
NC State, Georgetown. I'm gonna go with Georgetown.
I'm gonna say NC State.
NC State, Georgetown, NC State.
NC State over Georgetown.
St. Mary's versus Kansas. I'm gonna say Kansas.
Kansas.
I had Purdue, Kansas, and Kansas wins.
Kansas.
My next game is Kentucky versus Indiana, a rematch. Indiana ain't gonna be able to do it this time. University of Kentucky.
Kentucky versus New Mexico State, and I say Kentucky wins.
Kentucky versus Wichita State, Kentucky.
Kentucky, Indiana, and Kentucky wins.
Baylor versus Duke. I got Baylor.
I have the same thing, and I say Baylor as well.
Baylor versus Duke, and Duke wins.
Baylor versus Duke, and the Dukies are going to win.
Michigan State versus Louisville. I got Michigan State.
Michigan State versus Louisville, I have Michigan State.
Michigan State and Louisville, and I say Michigan State.
Michigan State, Louisville, and I say Michigan State.
I got Murray State versus Missouri, and I say Missouri's gonna do it.
I have Colorado State versus Missouri, and I say Missouri's gonna win.
I have Murray State and Mizzou. And I say Murray State beats Mizzou.
Murray State versus Mizzou, I think Murray State wins.
Syracuse versus Wisconsin. I got University of
Mizzou would
Syracuse.
probably.
I have Syracuse versus Vanderbilt, and I say Vanderbilt's gonna win.
Syracuse, Vanderbilt, and I say, yeah, Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt over Syracuse.
Florida State versus Ohio State. I'm taking Ohio State.
We're gonna see who's gonna have it better. Jaron Sullinger, amazing athlete, amazing person. Ohio State's taking the top.
Ohio State beats Florida State.
Florida State beats Ohio State.
That's a terrible pick.
University of North Carolina versus Michigan. I got University of North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina and South Florida, I say North Carolina.
North Carolina and Michigan. And I say North Carolina, of course.
Georgetown versus Kansas. I got Kansas.
I have NC State versus Kansas, and I say Kansas.
NC State versus Kansas, and I say NC State.
NC State versus Kansas, and I say Kansas.
Okay, you?
Kentucky versus Baylor. I got Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Kentucky versus Duke and Kentucky.
Kentucky beats Duke.
Michigan State versus University of Missouri. I got Michigan State.
Missouri.
Michigan State versus Murray State. Michigan State wins.
Michigan State beats Murray State.
Syracuse University versus Ohio State. I got Syracuse.
I have Ohio State versus Vanderbilt, and I say Ohio State's going through.
Vandy versus Ohio State. I'm going to say Ohio State.
Vandy versus Florida State, and I say Florida State wins their bracket.
University of North Carolina versus Kansas. UNC.
UNC versus Kansas, and I have Kansas.
UNC versus NC State, and I'll pick UNC.
Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio State, and Kansas.
I have Kentucky, Michigan State, Ohio State, and UNC.
Kentucky, Michigan State, Florida State, UNC.
Kentucky, Michigan State, Syracuse, and University of North Carolina. Final four, South versus West.
Kentucky.
Kentucky wins.
I have Kentucky beating the snot out of Michigan State.
For me, I got Kentucky.
Kansas does not pull it off, and Ohio State goes through.
I think OSU will beat UNC, and then Ohio State will win.
I have Florida State losing to North Carolina.
I got North Carolina beating Syracuse. All right, Benjamin, championship game. Who is it?
They're playing Xavier.
Kentucky versus Ohio State. Kentucky is our national champion.
Is it the end?
I think, unfortunately, Kentucky beats Ohio State. So
Gotcha.
I got Kentucky winning.
I have UNC beating Kentucky.
Are you having the difficult?
Die.
Other half.
Have Kentucky beating North Carolina.
So, that's our bracket. Feel free to comment where you think we're wrong.
No, mine's right. Kentucky.
Yeah, you're probably wrong if you comment that we're wrong. I'm just saying. So,
I just think Kentucky's gonna
we're
win.
at Southern Made. This is Bracketology. This is March Madness. So long.